is n in the first place? Huh? It's an x coordinate. So this n here, it's an x coordinate. Now, based on the information that we are given here, I'm sure you can see that PT is perpendicular to what? To TR. I hope you can see that. And I spoke about perpendicular lines. What did I say about perpendicular lines? If you multiply their gradients, you get a product which is equal to -1. If the parallel lines means their gradients were supposed to be what? Be equal. Okay? So if you want to calculate n, the best way is to determine the gradient of TR. The gradient of TR. Okay? But how can I get the gradient of TR? I know the gradient of PT. Remember, we did 1.1.2, which is that. 1.1.2. Can you stop it? Stop it. Right? 1.1.2. So we found the gradient of PT. But PT is perpendicular to TR. Therefore, I can find the gradient of TR. That's how easy it is. It's not that difficult. I shared with you all the concepts you need for this grade. The only thing which I can't go over now is the properties of quads. You have to go over that, because I taught that in term 2. But everything else I've already shared with you. So going forward, I'm just going to be doing examples, giving you homework and then going over that. That's all, for class exercise. Okay? So, if I want to calculate n, first, we know that MPT was equal to what? What was the gradient of PT?
-3 over 2.
-3 over 2. You see, some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. Yesterday, we found the gradient of PT. Now, because PT is perpendicular to RT, as you can see here, okay, RT is perpendicular to PT. It means the gradient of PT times the gradient of TR will give me a product of -R. Okay, so let's carry on. Alright, so from here, we'll say MPT times MRT is equal to -1. Okay, but what's PT? It's -3 over 2 times MRT. This will give me -1. Now, since we have got multiplication here, we have got multiplication there, right? It means these two can multiply that -1. If that happens, you get -3 times MRT, you get -3 MRT. This is equal to -2. If you're paying attention carefully yesterday, I told you that if two lines are perpendicular, one of them must have a positive gradient, the other one must have a negative gradient, always. So the gradient of PT is negative, it means the gradient of RT must be a positive. Okay? Then, from here, you divide both sides by -3. So MRT will be equal to 2 over 3. That's the gradient of MRT. Now, I'm going to need that gradient to determine N. Okay? Now, let's go back to the diagram. Please be aware, when you're answering questions from analytical geometry going forward, you also have to think. Maths is a thinking subject. You also have to think and apply the concepts. So, if I go back to the diagram, I'm sure you can see that I can find the gradient of TR by using the coordinates of T and the coordinates of R. So, the gradient of RT is also equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to use that. Okay? So I'll go back right? Okay, this is now lower. So I'm going to do it here. MRT, which is equal to 2 over 3, is equal to YR minus YT. Remember, I told you that it's much better to use the subscripts that are letters of the points on that specific line. So this will also be XR minus XT. What is MRT? It's equal to 2 over 3. Then let's go to the diagram. What is YR? Okay, YR is negative 13. Okay, and then YT is negative 3. So this will be negative 13 minus negative 3 all over n minus 10. Okay, let me just check if I substitute correctly there on the diagram. So my YR is minus 13, my YT is negative 3, okay? And then my XR is n, which is what I want, and my XT is 10. Okay, so I substitute there correctly. Okay, so please just take note of this. Where, okay, at point R, X is n, Y is minus 13. At point T, Y is minus 3 and X is 10. Okay, that's the substitution. Well, if I were to ask you, do you think the value of X at point R will be positive or negative? What would be your answer? Negative. Again, it's common sense. So the value of X at R here, it must be negative. Because point R is in the third quadrant. Remember, you did your quadrants. Okay? You did your quadrants. So, from here, you cross multiply. So, we do a cross multiplication like that. You end up getting 2n minus 20 is equal to minus 39. Well, this will give me a plus 3 times 3, I'll get a positive 9. Are you following? Your knowledge of equations that you did in term 1 is required. Then you get 2n equal to, this will give me minus 20. Okay, let's see if I make a mistake there. Huh? Okay, this is now minus 2n, that's minus 20, that's fine. And minus 13. Yeah, because this minus here and that minus will give me what? A positive. But n cannot be 0. So let me check what could be the problem. Let me check what could be the problem. And I think my substitution here, which is fine. Then YR, let's just check. YR is negative 13. YT is minus 3. So minus 13 minus 3. Okay, I see the mistake. Okay, I see the mistake. First, I need to simplify what's on the right hand side in the numerator. Okay, so this will be 2 over 3 is equal to, now that will give me minus 10 over n minus 10. Okay? Yes. Now it makes sense. Right? Then you cross multiply it. Okay? So to cross multiply, you get 2n minus 20 is equal to minus 30. Are you following that? Huh? Then you get 2n equal to minus 10. So n is going to be negative 5. Your knowledge of equations. Okay, please be aware that here you cannot cross multiply before simplifying the numerator. You have to simplify first the numerator, then you cross multiply. Yes.
Yeah. I get used AR. Because it's parallel to PT. So they have the same gradient, right? And then, because I had the gradient, substitution point there, and then I got the value at 6. And then I used that same thing or substitution -5 equals n. That was there, both sides equal. The left hand side equal to the right hand side.
You get the mind, how is the mind? The test.
No, because they said, show that if n is -5, so I substitute to make it equal.
You're not supposed to. Generally, when you're asked to show, you're not supposed to use the value that you are supposed to show. Can I have your attention, please? If you're asked a question like this, it says, show that n is equal to -5. In your working out, you are not supposed to use it. You are supposed to determine it that it's really equal to what? -5. Okay. Another method that I would suggest you can also use, okay, it involves your knowledge of simultaneous equations. Simultaneous. Okay, that would work. Okay. The question, can you stop that YouTube? Now, how would you find it? You can find the equation of TR. Okay? Let's do it. That would be method 2. Okay, so your method 2, we know that the gradient of PT is -3/2. Am I right? Huh? And the gradient of RT, we found it. Okay, but well, obviously, this one we didn't know. Okay, and that, let's say you are doing it from the beginning, you didn't know. It means MRT times MPT will be equal to -1, then MRT times -3/2 will be equal to -1. If you simplify this, you get MRT equal to 2/3. Am I right? Now, since we now know the gradient of RT, we are given the coordinates of T. So we can find the equation for RT. Because we know the gradient, we know point T. Are you following that? Yes. Okay, so let's find the equation. Y equal to mx plus c. Can everyone pay attention, please? There's a number of you didn't do this question. Pay attention. So where there is y here, we will substitute that -3. Where there is x, we put that +10. So I'll put -3 here. Where there is m, we put 2/3. Let's calculate the y-intercept. This is method 2, by the way. I've shown you method 1. So I'm doing method 2. So this will be -3 equal to 20/3 plus c. Then, if I take the 2/3, so if I take it to the other side, I'll get c equal to -9 in 2/3. Okay? Which is the same as saying c is equal to -29/3. Are you following me there? So the equation of that line is going to be y equal to 2/3x minus 29/3. Now, this is the equation for RT. But point R and point T are on the same straight line, isn't it? Which means point R obeys the equation for RT. So I can substitute y equal to 30 and get this x value, which is n. So I'm going to do that now. Okay? I hope you are following. So where there is y here, I'm going to put -13 there. Then I'll solve for x. Whatever x value I get there, that's the value of what? Of n. I hope I'm not talking to myself. Okay? Now, equations. You see that equations are important. You take the -29/3 to the left, or you can find the LCD. Let's find the LCD. LCD is what? 3. So we'll multiply that minus 13 by 3, you get minus 39. Then this becomes 2x, that becomes 29. You following? Huh? So the denominator disappears because I found the LCD. When we take this minus 29 to the left, minus 39 plus 29 will give me minus 10 equals 2x. When you divide both sides, you get negative 5 equals x. Therefore, n is equal to what? Minus 3. I have shown that indeed n is equal to minus 1. 2 methods that I have shown. Okay, so allow me to move on to the homework I gave you yesterday.